Every food forest, by its very nature, is a nursery, right? You can count the seeds in an apple, but you cannot count the apples in a single seed. So the birds, the wind, the rain, they'll come in and they'll take these seeds and they'll go on the other side of the lake. Next thing you know, you got more mulberries or raspberries over there.
Your intention right here isn't just to have abundance for your family, obviously. It's for the community and then to replicate it in other parts of the world.
Our intention is peace on earth. Our intention is a demonstrable solution to all of the world's biggest problems. And I'll name some of them, right? Deforestation, mass extinction, cancer, diabetes, and heart disease, hunger, tyranny, scarcity, fear, trauma. This is the foundation of freedom on a global scale.
From the Weston A. Price Foundation, welcome to the Wise Traditions podcast for wise traditions in food, farming, and the healing arts. We are your source for scientific knowledge and traditional wisdom to help you achieve optimal health. And now here is our host and producer, Hilda Labrada Gore.
Hey, Hilda here. Deforestation, mass extinction, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, scarcity, hunger, tyranny, and trauma. Our guest today dares to dream that food abundance, starting with a simple garden, can help address each of the issues I just mentioned. And as if that were not enough, he suggests that abundance can even usher in world peace. This is episode 533, and our guest today is Jim Gale. Jim is an entrepreneur, a world traveler, a permaculture advocate, and the founder of Food Forest Abundance. Today, Jim shares the wisdom with us that is both simple and profound. His vision, that abundance means that everyone has enough, and therefore strife and conflict and division dissipate. He goes over specifically how we can each be a part of that vision, how to get moving in that direction. He defines terms like permaculture and abundance, and how its harmonious approach to working with nature translates into a joyful, loving approach to our lives as well. When Jim speaks about abundance, you can just hear the passion in his voice. And you might think he's never known otherwise, but that's not true. In today's conversation, he reminds us that he was once flat broke. That was about 4 years ago. And now he has more than enough to share with those around him in terms of food and in other ways as well. Before we get to the conversation, I want to ask for you to be patient with us. We recorded this episode outdoors at Galt's Landing on his property, so it gets a little windy at times. Please put up with the gusts of wind because this episode is worth it. And if you'd like, you can actually watch it on our YouTube channel. You can go to @the Weston A. Price, the Weston A. Price Foundation's YouTube channel, and watch the podcast so you can get the full picture. And we've got lots of other great content there as well, including reels from Sally and other wonderful resources with recipes and so forth. So go to our YouTube channel, the Weston A. Price Foundation, @the Weston A. Price. This is Hilda Labrada Gore, and you're listening to Wise Traditions.
Welcome to Wise Traditions, Jim.
Thank you, Hilda. I'm so glad you're here visiting us at Galt's Landing.
Oh my gosh, it is so beautiful here. So I want to ask you a little bit about your vision. When I first arrived here, Jim, you said, you see that little patch of land? It was, I promise you, not more than, let's say, 6 feet by 6 feet. And what did you tell me? You said the solution to all the world's problems are right here. Is that right?
Absolutely. The solution to all of the world's problems, when we take the poisons out and we use our resources and our land wisely, we create peace on earth.
That seems like hyperbole.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Should I get into it?
Yes. Explain to me a little bit about your philosophy about how abundance is greater than scarcity.
Abundance is what supplants scarcity, and abundance is easy. Like this piece of land we're sitting on now.
Yeah.
This was 2.5, or this area here, about 1.5 years ago, there was nothing here but sand, Florida sugar sand. And then we started by adding mulch, right? This stuff here.
Yeah.
Just add layers of mulch. We add a couple inches. And then wherever we put fruit trees and food producing plants in the ground, we put a little soil around that. And then we added things like sunshine mimosa and perennial peanut and ice cream bean and these other beneficial supportive plants that build life into the soil. It's all about healing the soil, and then the soil heals us.
Oh my gosh. And when I pulled up into this property with my Uber driver, I have to say, he was just like, there's so much peace here. And he had just like barely gotten through the gate. I'm like, how did he know? How did you help bring that, let's say, vibration or frequency to this space?
So there's layers to it. We started with intention, right? First of all, we started with the awareness that it was possible, right? So choice cannot come without an awareness of choice. Most people aren't aware that we can be living in utopia. That utopia is not some silly fantasy. It's actually an urgent necessity. And that's Alan Watts, by the way. I love that one.
It's not a fantasy. It's an urgent necessity.
Yes. And abundance is radically easy. Like every one of these plants is a free energy system. Humans run on calories.
Yeah.
Right? That's the energy form. That's what we call it. Mm-hmm. Right? Every single one of these plants produces exponential free energy. And here's the kicker. This system is way less maintenance than a lawn.
I'm not surprised because, as you may know, I went to Zimbabwe. I got to interview Alan Savory, and he was talking about something similar. In other words, some of the answers that we're looking for are very simple and very accessible, and they're good for the animals, the planet, and humanity.
You nailed it. Bill Mollison, one of my heroes, one of the founders of Permaculture, along with David Holmgren, I was studying permaculture in a strait of kind of anxiety and scarcity because I recognized in 2007 that we're destroying the world, and my kids, I might not ever have grandkids the way we were going. Now that has shifted, and I'm very happy to say that we can feel the shift and see the shift exponentially all around the world. As people suffer, they start asking new questions.
That's right.
Right? And so anyway, I was reading Bill Mollison, and he wrote, "Though the problems of our world are increasingly complex, the solutions remain embarrassingly simple."
So talk to us a little bit about this simple approach to abundance and helping people have access to the food that their bodies crave and need.
Yes. So it starts, the science that we love that Bill and David came up with is called permaculture, which means permanent culture. And it started out as an agricultural design science. So literally, this can be done anywhere. If you have a closet, you could put a 5-gallon bucket in your closet with soil. You could put some sweet potatoes or some potato starts in there, add a little bit of light, and a little bit of airflow would be good, and a little bit of water. And that 5-gallon bucket with the light and the airflow and the water will turn that dirt into food.
Why have we gotten so far removed from this? Why do we not know that we are able to produce food, that we can work with the land and make this happen? We rely on grocery stores so much, I don't understand.
I've been focusing on that question obsessively for almost 18 years now. And it started out as an obsession that was driven by the scarcity of the knowledge that we're going to destroy everything and I'm going to not have grandkids. Then I realized that a joyful approach, a loving approach is the way. But the question, why is this the way it is? None of this is by accident. I have contemplated multiple different perspectives, right? I've lived in Africa with the Maasai, I've lived in Chiang Mai, I've lived in Buddhist and Hindu countries, I've lived in Karachi, Pakistan, and Dar es Salaam, and all these places. And I've studied culture. And the one thing that we can all agree on is we want our kids to have good lives. We want this stuff to happen. So what I think is going on, I like to look at this as a divine game of sorts. And the win of the game is the Garden of Eden everywhere. And people say that's not possible. Okay, well then come visit.
I can't get over how this is transformed. How long have you had this property?
So we bought the property in 2018, but this area of the property was just sand about 1.5 to 2 years ago. And that area over there, 2.5 years, right? So we went from sand to this place where we could walk away now because the root systems are established, the design is done. Permaculture design is an awesome first step. And now we could walk away and come back in 30 years And this would be a habitat that would not only be a jungle here, but this jungle of food would now be hundreds and thousands of miles away. Every food forest by its very nature is a nursery, right? You can count the seeds in an apple, but you cannot count the apples in a single seed, right? So the birds, the wind, the rain, they'll come in and they'll take these seeds and they'll go on the other side of the lake. Next thing you know, you got more mulberries or raspberries over there.
Your intention right here isn't just to have abundance for your family, obviously. It's for the community and then to replicate it in other parts of the world.
Our intention is peace on earth. Our intention is a demonstrable solution to all of the world's biggest problems. And I'll name some of them, right? Deforestation, mass extinction, cancer, diabetes, and heart disease, hunger, tyranny, scarcity, fear, trauma. This is the foundation of freedom on a global scale. When somebody in the highest offices in our land, right, when somebody stands on stage, let's say the president, and says, we're going to end war, and here's how we're going to do it. We're going to end colonialism. We are going to turn all of our army bases into food forest nurseries. We're going to invite in the ethical, moral, and loving people in those communities, and we're going to help them grow their own food systems, because abundance destroys scarcity. Scarcity is the catalyst for fear, and fear is the ultimate control mechanism.
So what's coming in my mind right now is that old song, Let There Be Peace on Earth and Let It Begin With Me. So I like that you're starting right where you are, but you're inviting people, Jim, to come see and learn. Don't you have like a Farm Freedom Academy that you're establishing as well?
Yes, we have foodforestabundance.com is where our designers can be found, and they will design whatever system that you have, whatever land you have. They'll use permaculture ethics and principles to design it. And then the Freedom Farm Academy is like this. And it's a model where we are 100% off-grid. We produce all of our own food, water, and energy that's needed right here. And then this is the key, right? Because the food supply chain is already a failure. You can see by people's health that it's a failure. So is food security when we have enough food? No. Food security is when our neighbors also have enough food.
Oh, I love that. And that's where the peace comes from. In other words, if I'm not trying to get what you have, and you have more than enough to share anyway, and you're giving it to me, where's the conflict?
Where's the conflict? And we give it. We love it. Now, we also believe in voluntarism. We don't just believe in it. It's the only ethical way. Anything done by threat of force and violence is slavery, is coercion, is unethical. So we are demonstrating voluntarism here. And I'll get a real quick example. This here is a sweet potato vine. So these little roots, you just roll this in a circle like that. You dig a little hole like this.
Can you see that?
All right.
Awesome.
So I'm done. I just planted sweet potatoes in 15 to 18 months. Let's say, well, I'll give you an example that came from Mike at Tro TV. He did that, gave him a sweet potato start. He came back about a year and a half later. He had 100 pounds of sweet potatoes. But not only that, 20 of his friends were also growing sweet potatoes off of that one vine.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
But aren't there parts of the world where isn't most of the world made of land that's not arable, that you can't grow things on, I mean?
So land has been destroyed in multiple places, and it takes more energy and effort to heal the land. But even right now, in the deserts of Jordan and all over the world, they're demonstrating that when you use the permaculture design principles, you can create a jungle of green in the midst of a desert.
Have you seen that?
It's epic.
Wow.
Yeah, you can go online and look up Greening the Deserts of Jordan, and there's many others. They're taking a swath of land in, is it the Sahara? The big desert in Africa. And they're taking a strip right through the middle of it, and they're greening it right now.
Well, that's a beautiful vision. I'm also thinking about people who listen and watch this podcast who are like, okay, I live in an apartment in New York City. How could I ever begin to have the abundance that Jim is describing?
So it starts with an inspired vision. So whatever the mind, first of all, one of the most influential books of all time, Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. Right? It's an awesome book.
Yes.
Napoleon was commissioned to study the most successful manifestors in history. And after decades of studying these manifestors, Napoleon deducted whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. So start with the question, can I conceive of and believe that I can be in whatever type of environment I want, right? So now, do you want to live in an apartment in New York? If you do, and you also want to grow food, then turn a corner into a grow system or a closet, right? You don't have to have much space at all. I mean, this much space and you can grow something. Now, if you want to get out of that situation, which might be a good idea with everything going on, then start creating a vision for yourself that compels you to action. And then start speaking the vision. Thought, word, deed, right? Start with the thought of it. Then start speaking it, and the words literally turn to matter. So when you speak it, you'll start engaging and inspiring people around you, and they'll say, I want some of that too. 4 years ago, I was dead broke. I invested $20 million into the solutions of all this stuff. Now, I'm talking about my bank account.
Yeah.
In my heart, I felt pretty good. And I owned one asset, and it was my lot here at Galt's Landing. And now we're free and clear. We've got an incredible network of people. We've got all the food, water, and energy we need. And I'm actually giving up all the equity and products I've had in other businesses, including Food Forest Abundance and others. And I'm donating that for selfish reasons to the council. And when I say selfish reasons, in a system of radical abundance, like God's design, like the system that we live in, there is so much abundance that the most selfish thing I could ever do is serve my friends, my family, my neighbors, and our world. Because by doing so, it creates this cycle of abundance, and the more I give, the more keeps coming.
Coming up, Jim discusses how growing food particularly is helpful for former inmates and how it reduces crime and recidivism.
You're listening to the Wise Traditions podcast from the Weston A. Price Foundation. We pause now to recognize our sponsors.
Earth Runners. Many of us want to live a more natural, simple, nature-based lifestyle like our ancestors did. But we often overlook the fact that our footwear is quite different than theirs. They were nearly always constantly grounding, barefoot or in leather-soled moccasins and the like. We, on the other hand, wear footwear that insulates us from the earth's energy that we need for all of our bodies to function properly. This is where Earth Runner sandals come in. Their design is based on the old huarache. It has a copper plug and a grounding strap that keeps you connected to the earth. So it mimics the grounding experience without your having to go barefoot exactly. And it's a minimalist sole, Vibram sole actually, that allows for you to have plenty of flexibility in your foot movement. So it's a win-win. These sandals are designed to get us grounded again and to give us a more barefoot experience, both physically and electrically. Earth Runners has taken the millennia-old footwear design and brought it into today. Just for you and me. They've got the Vibram soles and the earthing technology, so we get the most minimalist, natural, and grounded shoe experience that you've ever had. So restore your natural connection with the earth and enjoy the myriad benefits from that. Take in the elements just as our ancestors did. Earth Runners offers that minimalist sole for healthy, full-range foot movement, which improves everything upstream. Earth Runners aspires to restore our relationship with nature and to rediscover our ancestral roots via minimalist earthing sandals. So rewild and reconnect with Earth Runners. You can find them at earthrunners.com and use the code WISE2025 at checkout for 10% off. Hearth and Homestead. Are you looking for skincare products made with all natural ingredients and no harmful chemicals? Hearth and Homestead is a family-owned business creating tallow balms, soaps, and perfumes using only the highest quality ingredients. Through thoughtful sourcing and handmade processes, They create products that are effective, nourishing, and free from any preservatives or artificial ingredients. Inspired by ancestral wisdom, they use ingredients and methods that ancient civilizations around the world have been using for centuries to treat and take care of their bodies. Rediscovering ancestral skincare and making the switch to cleaner products has never been easier. From postpartum products to face masks, their store is full of items your whole family will love. We recommend trying their best-selling tallow balm, which has over 3,000 five-star reviews. And it comes in 7 different varieties, including butter almond, coffee vanilla, and vanilla orange. They sound delicious to me. Explore their wide range of products at hearthandhomesteadstore.com and use the code WISE to get 15% off any purchase. Again, that's hearthandhomesteadstore.com and use the code WISE to get 15% off any purchase. This is Hilda Labrada Gore, and you're listening to Wise Traditions.
Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. That reminds me, when I was with Alan Savory in Zimbabwe, he said, you know what? I owned like hectares and hectares of land, and I decided to give it to Zimbabwe. And I said, just let me live on this little bit. He's like, I don't know if my kids were very happy about that. But in the end, I think he was operating under the same principle, Jim, that like given it shall be given to you. But he wasn't even doing it to receive, really. He was doing it because he thought it would be best for him and actually for future generations.
That's the thing. You could be doing it for all the best reasons that you can imagine. And as a result of that, good thing is coming to you as well.
Yeah. And another thing that comes to my mind is Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So if you're in that apartment we were just describing and you're like, I'm never getting out of here, I'm working 3 jobs, it's just the way it is, that's exactly the way it is and the way it will be. Yeah. But if you think, you know what if maybe I could just do something in the closet like Jim was saying, maybe I could just start a little thing or check out the community garden.
There you go.
Oh, I've been in New York City. There's actually a lot of green space, right?
Yeah. The community gardens are amazing. Get out there. And by the way, this is a healing. When you put your hands in the soil, like we're partnered with Andre Norman. He's the world leader in prison reform. When inmates grow some of their own food, their recidivism goes down by 60 to 70%. That's huge, right?
Yes.
So when inmates grow food, not only do you save a ton of taxpayer money, and inmates eat poison-free food, which is a big deal because they're mostly sick, but now they also stop wanting to commit crimes.
Yep. And Joel Salatin and I have talked about that too. He's like, if only I could get former prisoners here, this would be the best rehab system ever because they're seeing something beautiful emerge from their hands, whereas perhaps before they only saw violence.
Joel was here not too long ago, and he's partners with us on getting this. And we had a conversation with Andre Norman was in a prison, and there was about maybe 20 or 30 women behind him. And we asked these women, these inmates, how would you like to get out and work with animals? And they all started screaming and cheering. Many of us got tears in our eyes and started crying, including Joel. It was so beautiful.
Oh my gosh, that's so healing.
Yeah.
So now I want to pivot for just a second and talk about your new book, because there's a lot of talk today about artificial intelligence and how it can help us progress and develop and all the things. But your book is about natural intelligence. Tell me a little bit about it.
The book, Corey Angelat, myself, Marjorie Wildcraft, Joel Salatin, and a bunch of the council members have come together to write a book that lays out the strategy, the tactics, the plan to bring us from where we are now to freedom, to abundance, and to peace. It's called Natural Intelligence, the Technology of Peace. And we just got #1 new release on Amazon for Audible and for the softcover. And we're very excited about it. And by the way, we're following Dr. Martin Luther King's advice. He said, those who love peace must learn to organize as effectively as those who love war.
So you're getting those people together to organize.
Exactly.
And so what's the crux of the book about?
It's about exactly that. It's about how do we create awareness. All right. So if we're going to change the world, it starts with there's a desire and need we're already going through the apocalypse, which means lifting the veil. This is the Great Awakening. This is the time of great transformation. Now we create awareness on the actual solutions. And then we layer out the different levels. Sorry, the dog almost tipped over there.
That's okay.
Yeah, all good. She did. So then we layer in the exact strategies and tactics, and we don't have any NDAs, no non-competes, no patents. Everything we're doing is open source. And for instance, should I share about our school model real quick?
Yeah, do.
Okay, so we're building a school right here. And this model is your model, right? It came to me through deep meditation here in the food forest. And it's so simple, it will probably blow some of your minds like it does every time I talk about it. I'm like, why isn't this normal, right? So there's gonna be 25 students. The parents of those students, at least at the beginning, they'll be paying $1,200 per month. It's a private school. Now, in this area, private schools are between $1,500 and over $2,000 a month. So it's already a better value. But here's where it gets exponential. The students will be managing the nursery. They'll be growing food. And for whom? For themselves and for their families. Within 6 months, the families will have more than 50% of their food organic, poison-free, healthy food created from their kids at their school.
Wow.
What's that worth?
What a return on an investment, and the kids' education, and your family's getting fed.
Yes, and the kids are learning the most important thing in the world to learn, self-reliance and how to create a business. Within a year, there'll be 100% of the food that their families need grown and created at the school. We integrate animals with Joel's techniques. We've got cows and chickens and ducks and turkeys. We have fish and bees, right? The students will be managing all of that and the greenhouse with Chris's help here. And then within about a year and a half or two, right? And this might change by months either way, but there will be such a radical abundance of this nursery that the school will be regenerative financially and self-supporting.
And this idea just came to you.
Yeah.
And so you're hoping you can bring together the students and then make this happen into a reality. Like you said, every reality starts with a vision, with a thought, with an idea.
Yeah.
Wow. When do you hope to launch it?
I hope to launch it in February because we already have a lot of the infrastructure. In fact, we're meeting tonight with our board, and I'll get into some of the details so you can see the math on this, how logical it is. 3 teachers, right? 1,200 times 25 is 30 grand a month. 3 teachers, the primary teacher will get 100 grand a year. The assistant will probably be in the $50,000 a year. And then there'll be a nursery operator will probably be around 50, 60,000 plus 10% of the nursery profits, right? So now teachers are making way more than they do in the public school. The kids are outside half the day and inside half the day. And it's scalable. Any 3 people who want to be in this business of teaching can get together and do this model wherever they are, and everybody wins.
That's one of my favorite things about your vision, that it's not just for you all here, but I saw that you have like Airbnb situations where people can come, observe, learn, and take it back wherever they may be.
Exactly.
Even this, you're not trying to hold on to it, Jim.
No.
Like, do it.
Let it go, right? And that's why these ideas are coming, like the prison idea. Andre Norman started a university called Second Chance University. And it's already the largest university in the world, right? And they just got the logo like 3 months ago. And there's 650,000 inmates that are enrolled in this university, and they have tablets in prisons. And on these tablets, we give them the content, which is trauma healing and how to create abundance in our world, right? It's profound. And so our vision is that within about the first year or 15 months, we can get 20% of those inmates out of the prison, either because they're naturally out or on early work release. And that's 20% of 650,000 is at 130,000 in teams of 3. And that equals 43,333 new regenerative organic farms in the United States alone. That supplants the current poisonous food supply chain, and now we have a new poison-free food supply chain. Taking the problem, one of the biggest liabilities in our world is the prison system, and turning that problem into the solution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And do you have your share of naysayers? I imagine you do. People who are like, oh, those prisoners are hardened criminals. They're not going to want to do this. Or, how will it play out like actually in real life?
So online, sometimes, and I haven't heard this lately because probably the group that we're connected with is kind of aware, but online I used to get some naysayers. When people sit here, they're done.
Yeah.
Because here it is. Again, this is not a hypothetical solution to all of the world's biggest problems. It's a demonstratable solution. So we are be the change, like Gandhi said. You're living it. And I'm not a cook. I don't know how to cook yet. I'm going to learn.
Yeah.
And there's still an infant. I don't know, relative to some of the permaculture experts in the world, I might know 1%. And yet, here it is.
Wow.
Right?
So if he can do it, we can do it.
That's exactly right. I absolutely, because I don't grow anything. Nature does all the work.
Yeah.
Design is a good first step.
Yeah, and I guess I'm thinking a little bit too about human nature and just how possessive we can be of ideas. Even in this natural health and wellness space, people will be like, well, this is my program and this is my broth cooking school. And, I just feel like there's so much competition instead of collaboration. Do you have any suggestions for overcoming those hurdles, which I know we're putting up ourselves?
Yes. For people who are hyper competitive, let's create a new competitive model. Those who can serve the most win. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because this literally checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
And the other thing you said, people are apathetic. People don't believe it's possible. I invite you to come here, visit a food forest wherever you are. There are food forests all over the world, right? A lot of times they're private backyards and not a lot of people know about them. Bring your cameras. Go visit the food forest wherever you are. Put it on film. Talk to the owner of it, the steward, right? When we create mass adoption of becoming stewards of the land again, like we're meant to be, boom.
Yes, I feel like I've heard of movements like this all around. So it is, you've got your thing, but then there are other people still collaborating under different names. What is it? The urban farmer, the gangsta farmer, whatever. He's like, let's turn lawns into forests of abundance that no one's going to be yelling at you, hey, stop picking my apple. The apple is there for the neighbor.
Yeah, like the urban farmer is Curtis Stone. And the gangster farmer is Ron Finley.
They're two different guys.
Right?
I didn't know.
Isn't that great? But my point is, this is so out there. It is, by the way, I've been on many, like hundreds and hundreds of podcasts and shows and stuff. I've been told by many podcasters that this is the most censored message they've ever shared.
Really? What?
Yes. I was on Inspire with John Nolan, and he had David Icke on and all these guys. He said, he actually did a show on it. It's the most censored message they've ever shared.
Why is it so threatening to the status quo?
Because this destroys the status quo. Victor Hugo said, there's one thing stronger than all of the armies of the world, and that is an idea whose time has come, right? Well, what does that mean? Well, what is an idea? What happens in your mind when you get a good idea? The light bulb goes off.
Totally, you get lit up.
You get lit up, which is enlightenmente, which is the exact opposite of governmente. Governmente means mind control. Enlightenmente is a mind free of the slave controls that bind us.
Wow, powerful words. So I'm going to take you out on a little tour here of this property, but I do want to ask you the question I posed at the end. I know I've had you on the podcast before, and we talked a lot about how to get started with your own backyard and transforming your lawn into a garden. But this is the question I ask. If the listener could do one thing to improve their health, Jim, if they could do one thing to improve their health, what would you recommend they do?
One thing that is, to me, far more important than everything else put together is presence. Practice presence. Be here now, because now is where all the wisdom, all the messages are. Everything else is an illusion, hallucination. It's anxiety, fear, stress, whatever. If you're envisioning a joyful future, a future of abundance, great, right? But be here in the present and then take the next inspired step.
Love it. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Beautiful.
I'm enjoying being here right now.
Right. Look at those bananas. I'm just going to turn this.
Yeah, turn it around. Show those bananas.
Look at that. Right.
Our guest today was Jim Gale. You can visit his website, foodforestabundance.com and origins-reclaim.org to learn more. And I am Hilda Labrada-Gore, the host and producer of this podcast on behalf of the Weston A. Price Foundation. You can find me at holistichilda.com. And for the transcript for this week's episode, visit our website, westnaprice.org, and click on the podcast page. So you can listen to the podcast on your favorite audio platform, you can read the transcript on our website, or you can watch the podcast on our YouTube channel at The Weston A. Price, or just put Weston A. Price Foundation in the search bar on YouTube and you will find us. And thank you so much for listening. However you do it, my friend, stay well and remember to keep your feet on the ground and your face to the sun.
On behalf of the Weston A. Price Foundation, thanks for listening. We have many free resources to support you on your health journey. Visit westonaprice.org to find podcasts, articles, videos, and more. You can also find a local chapter near you for help in finding sources of great food. We invite you to support the Foundation's mission of education, research, and activism by becoming a member. Thanks again, and take care. Wise Traditions is a project of the Weston A. Price Foundation for wise traditions in food, farming, and the healing arts. The content on this podcast is provided for informational purposes only and is not intended to substitute for the advice provided by your doctor or other healthcare professional. It is not intended to be, nor does it constitute healthcare or medical advice.